Hello, all you beautiful people out there. Welcome to my channel. You know the drill. If you're coming back, if you're here for the first time, welcome, welcome, welcome. Glad to have you aboard. So, today is my last special this year for Halloween, and I'm reviewing Exposing Satan's Underground. And I gotta say, when especially the members of the Church of Satan heard this, I'm not sure if the Satanic Temple had been up and running by the time this was put together, but I know the Church of Satan was. And I can just imagine members of the COS were laughing their fucking asses off at this shit. Because it is funny. Well, it would be if it wasn't so serious. People were jailed over this shit. People went to jail. Now that is fucking disgusting. Speaking of going to jail, while I have it in my mind to remind you, my fellow Americans, please vote. Vote, vote, vote. Vote like your life depended on it, because it very well might. That's not fear mongering. That is the truth. Okay? That is the truth. You come to my channel for truth, not comfortable lies. And I'm going to tell you the truth, no matter how uncomfortable it is. So vote. Because this may be our last election. And if that scares you, it should. So come on, get out the vote. We've got the numbers. We just need the votes. Come on, people. We can't give up. It's not over till it's over. It's not over till it's over. And while I'm on it, don't pay attention to the polls, because if you pay attention to the polls, you might get disappointed, discouraged. That is a psychological warfare tactic that the Republicans use. And they use it very well. Hey, Limited. They use it very well. Most polls are tilted toward the Republicans. No idea why, but they are. And the polls have been off for a very long time. So don't pay attention to the polls. Just get out there and vote, because your vote counts. All right. With all of that said, now we can get into the name of the game, which is making fun of these shitty people. Yes, Limited. Hang on a minute here. Let me share my screen. Excuse me. All right. So this is exposing Satan's underground, and we've been going through it for the past, I don't know, 2 or 3 days. Um, we've already seen what a mess this is, and I don't see it being any more accurate anytime soon. So let's go.
It dealt with ridding the body of Satan in a ritual called exorcism.
So, what you may or may not know about exorcism is it's more than just a Christian thing. However, possession being looked upon as evil tends to be a Christian thing. It could be an Abrahamic thing overall, but people in other religions tend to view possession as a good thing, um, especially in voodoo, um, where you've got the Loa who are inhabiting their um, devotees. That is looked on. Hey, Stephen. Um, where the voodoo devotees see possession by their Loa as a good thing. And it's periodic, you know. Um, so, very, very cultural. Gee, wonder why that is. I wonder why possession would be cultural. I mean, it's supposed to be real, right? So if it's quote unquote real, should be the same across the board, right? Right? That only makes sense. Oh, wait a minute. We're talking about Abrahamic religions here. They don't make any sense. But yeah, gotta wonder about that. Why isn't possession viewed the same in all cultures? Moving on.
As we discovered in the heart of the Haitian section of Brooklyn, New York, exorcism is more than just a scene in a movie. It's a common aspect of some people's religious beliefs. Operating out of the back room of this religious curio shop, a voodoo priest regularly performs exorcism. This one on a woman whose persistent stomach pains were thought to be caused by the devil inside her. I know you've been possessed by the devil for so many years. He's been bothering you. That's too.
Okay, so Haitian voodoo does have some elements of Catholicism to it. I'm not sure they have a devil per se. They usually have gods, which can be good gods or bad gods. Um, Voodoo tends to be a religion of balance, you know. But anyway, um, they may have because because Haitian voodoo does borrow from Catholicism. They may have an inkling of the devil but I don't know, and I don't want to get into stuff that I don't know. So we'll just leave it at that.
You come to me, and I'm going to let them know he cannot bother you again. With the help of several assistants and accompanied by throbbing traditional music, the priest's incantations built to a crescendo. Then, in a moment of almost sexual release, the devil was purged from the patient. The chicken is dead. The chicken take all the malady, all the sickness away from you. In every way, Southern California is a very
Notice that the Vidowans, which is the name for the voodoo practitioners, okay, the Vidowans are speaking in their native tongue. So we have no fucking clue what they're saying. We just have to believe these people and take them at their word. Listen, I used to believe all this shit that all these people were saying, okay? Big mistake. Now, I don't trust them any further than I can throw them. Moving on.
very long way from the heart of Brooklyn. But at the church of a preacher named Roy Masters, exorcisms of the devil appear just as sincere, far out, and dramatic. With a background in show business rather than theology, Masters claims the members of his congregation react so profoundly to the laying on of the cross because they feel and fear themselves possessed by the devil. Come out.
Yeah, gee, I wonder who put that in their little minds. Wonder who put that idea in their minds. And really, a background in show business. Can you get any more transparent than that? Can you get any more transparent than that? Thank you for being honest with us for once.
No, I won't let her go. No. Devil worship is as old as religion itself. It's the grim alternative, the flip side of life. Evil over good, dark over light.
No, it's not. It's not. It's not the flip side of religion. The flip side of religion is atheism. You people don't even know what you're talking about. How are we supposed to, take your word on anything when you can't even get the basics right?
Satan over God himself.
Come forth and bestow these blessings.
I believe that's Anton LaVey. I could be wrong, but I think that's Anton LaVey, founder of the Church of Satan. And he's dead now, but he would tell you himself if he was alive, he's an atheist. He doesn't believe in Satan. Satan is just a symbol. In fact, if you look at the original language, Satan means opposer or, something very similar to that. So Satan isn't even a name. Moving on.
blessings of hell upon us.
Forced underground by the religious hysteria of the Middle Ages, Satanism was resurrected, first by an Englishman named Aleister Crowley in the early 20th century. It entered its modern era in this country just about 25 years ago, under the theatrical guidance of Anton LaVey, California-based high priest of present-day devil worship. LaVey founded the Church of Satan. Now, despite its preachings of evil and hate,
the COS does not preach hate. Gee, do these people project much? I mean, seriously, do they project much? Because they preach hate. They preach nothing but hate. These quote-unquote loving Christians preach nothing but hate. And they thrive on it. Make no mistake, they thrive on it. It's their bread and butter. Moving on.
the church and its offshoots are constitutionally protected religions.
I believe that hate is necessary in a controlled way just as much as love is necessary.
LaVey penned the best-selling Satanic Bible. It's the handbook of devil worshippers everywhere. And for a time, he was considered chic enough to attract the attention of Hollywood. After working together on a film, LaVey
That is factually wrong. The Satanic Bible is not the handbook of Satanists everywhere. Just like every other religion, Satanism has its denominations. Are you planning on getting anything right in this quote-unquote documentary?
made Sammy Davis Jr. an honorary member, while the late Jane Mansfield was for a time among LaVey's most passionate followers.
Most of the people that are in my group are professional people, they're business people, they're people that are from very responsible walks of life.
Contemporary Satanism relies heavily on bizarre and sometimes bloody ceremonies. One of the ugliest, yet apparently most common rituals in devil worship is the sacrifice of animals, often involving the removal of organs and the draining of their blood in elaborate.
Okay. I'm not sure any recognized Satanist organization recognizes animal sacrifice. I can tell you who does. Voodoo. And I'm not, and you know, I do not approve of animal sacrifice, but it's part of the voodoo religion, you know. And to the Voodooans, animal sacrifice is very pure, and you know, they don't let the animals suffer, from my understanding, when they sacrifice the animals. So as far as I know, Satanists, at least the denominations of Satanism that are legally recognized, do not sacrifice animals, but Voodoo and Santeria and other Afro-Caribbean religions, they do. So I think what's happening is that these people have no clue what the fuck they're talking about. So They're just taking anything that isn't Christianity and they're lumping it into Satanism.
Elaborate ceremonies. Well, a series of cattle mutilations on this Louisiana farm has sent a shiver of fear through this entire community. Show me the evidence that this was some kind of ritual.
Oh, this hole right here and the tail, they cut the tail off. The same thing with the ears.
They cut the ears off.
Right.
So you two have no doubt that your animals were used in some kind of ritual.
Right.
Yes. All the blood was gone out of them, too. Every one of them, the blood was drained.
No blood, no inside, eyes pulled out, everything. I'm begging for something to be done. I'm scared.
In response to the animal mutilations and other
Hey, I've got a great idea. Instead of, like Satanist sacrifices, why don't we just say it was the chupacabra? Makes just as much sense. Just as much sense, people. Let's just say it was the chupacabra. That's how much sense this makes.
mysterious and unsolved crimes in this area. The local fundamentalist church held an extraordinary service.
There's been a lot of questions.
Okay, I'm probably going to lose my monetization on this stream over this, so please, if you can chip in $1 or $2, it'd be much appreciated. All right. I just got to say this. This is the 60s, the 70s, the late 60s, the 70s, the 80s, and to the mid 90s. Okay? It's how long this went on. Okay, so that's the time frame we're talking about. How many serial killers do you think were active at the time in the United States? I can tell you it was a whole lot more than one. So the murders that that these people are blaming on Satanism probably had nothing to do with Satanism. And it was probably just some evil fucking morons. All right, moving on.
Questions about, are there any witchcraft, occultism, Satan worshipers in the area? And the answer is obviously yes. The only way to deal with Satan, which is spirit, is by way of spirit.
The preacher asked his flock to protect themselves with their faith, but some chose.
Yeah, I'm going to say a 5-letter word that is the death knell of faith everywhere. I'm going to need some proof, dude. I'm going to need some proof of that. Before I buy any of your bullshit, prove it. You should be able to. So come on, let's have that proof. Otherwise, piss off.
A more down-to-earth method.
Brother Blunt, I believe in the Lord. and I believe in you. But I'm still going to carry my gun because I'm scared.
In our investigation, we discovered that some of Satan's soldiers are also high-ranking officers in the United States military. Here at San Francisco's Presidio Army Base, for example, Lieutenant Colonel Michael Aquino led a double life.
Oh my fucking God. Here we go with the conspiracy theories. Will you shut the fuck up about conspiracy theories? Oh my fucking God. Shut the fuck up about conspiracy theories. It's why we're in this mess in 2022. Shut the fuck up about conspiracy theories. We don't care. Hey, Wist, happy Halloween or happy Samhain to my weekend friends. We don't care about your fucking conspiracy theories.
As a satanic high priest, the colonel's cult is listed in the San Francisco telephone book, and his phone answering machine boasts of his.
I have heard of the Temple of Set. It is a denomination of Satanism. I just don't know much about it, so I can't speak much about it. Moving on.
Affiliation.
This is the Temple of Set. The temple is the only international satanic religious institution fully recognized by the United States government.
Indeed, the Army does officially recognize Satanism as a legitimate religion and supplies chaplains with this guide for ministering to the satanic soldier. Yet unofficially, some charge that Army bases have become sanctuaries for devil worshippers. Just last month,
That's because Satanism is a legitimate religion. So is voodoo. So is Christianity. It's a legitimate religion. You know what's not legitimate? Disguising evil acts as religious acts. Which, by the way, is what Christians like to do all the goddamn time. And I'm going to keep calling them out on it. And while I've got you, vote, because we may not have that constitutional right very much longer. Vote, vote, vote. You think I'm trying to scare you? I am not trying to scare you. I am telling you the fucking truth. That's what you come here for. I don't tell you comfortable lies. I tell you the fucking truth. Moving on.
under a full moon, I took a midnight tour of the Presidio grounds with police investigator Ed Abanovsky. Are you saying that there was a satanic cult active right here on the Army base?
Yes, we believe so. There's evidence to substantiate that. They had satanic rituals going on. There's an altar in there, and all the graffiti on the wall would indicate that.
How'd you find this place?
This is a fortification during World War II. During World War II, where they had gun batteries.
I can see a pentagram painted on the wall. I can see the words Prince of Darkness. On this wall, I see several inverted crosses and other obvious satanic ritualistic paintings or symbols.
Joseph, we've agreed to conceal your identity, but you are an officer in the United States Army.
That's correct.
And you were an officer in the United States Army during the time you were a member of this satanic organization.
Yes.
Did the authorities at the Presidio know that a satanic organization was active on their base during the time that you were a member?
They were very much aware of it, yes.
The present base commander, Colonel Rafferty, says that today, at least,
I know of no satanic activities whatsoever.
Yeah, that's because it's a protected religion, at least for a little while longer. People, if you do not want the extreme right to run over your rights, vote. Vote, vote, vote. Your vote counts. And don't pay attention to the polls, because the polls are skewed to the right and they are nothing but psychological warfare propaganda. Okay? Now, I can guarantee you, okay, I can guarantee you that they probably did know that there were satanic priests and whatnot in the military. They probably did know. That's a freedom of religion thing. But on the other hand, you can't ask shit about that. You can't ask shit about somebody's religion. Okay? We all know that. At least Americans do. Okay, moving on.
In this area.
Satanism may be a constitutionally protected religion, but similar to another recent case at the United States Military Academy at West Point, here charges surfaced connecting ritual child abuse at the Presidio Daycare Center to the devil cult. It was here parents and others alleged.
Ritual abuse isn't a thing, people. How many times do I have to say that? It was a false hysteria made up by implanted, quote unquote, recovered memories, which, after long and hard research, psychologists have debunked.
That as many as 60 young children were ritualistically abused by soldiers of Satan.
What actually was done to the kid?
Oral copulation, sodomy.
No. If that happened, it was not anything to do with Satanism. Okay? They're just evil people. Yes, evil does exist. But people are very much so responsible for the evil that exists in this world, not some supernatural boogeyman. So get off your high horse and take responsibility for your own fucking actions.
Defecation, they were urinated on.
The former chief juvenile investigator at the Presidio, Ed Abanowski, is here. He's now a deputy sheriff in Santa Clara County. Colonel Aquino, we note, sir, for the record, that you were originally implicated in the dreadful charges of child abuse. We note also that no charges were ever brought against you, and presumably you have been cleared. Would you like to comment on why those charges were brought against you?
Well, the entire time that the so-called child molestation scandal was occurring at the Presidio, the time period when these terrible events were supposedly taking place, I was assigned to the National Defense University in Washington, D.C., and my wife was out there living with me.
But is it not a fact?
Yep. And that's basically what happened with all of these allegations, they looked into them and they immediately fell apart for whatever reason. I have a Michelle Remembers video in my Satanic Panic series. After her allegations came out, and Michelle's not a real name, by the way. After her allegations came out, they found out a few years later none of that stuff ever happened because she was going to school during that time. How can all that shit happen if she's going to school during that time? Moving on.
Fact that a 3.5-year-old girl identified you as the alleged perpetrator of molestation?
No, as a matter of fact, it is not the case. An accusation was made by her stepfather, who was an Army chaplain, speaking on behalf of this child. In her original interview with the FBI, she denied ever being molested.
Well, I've seen you are innocent until proven guilty. You were never charged in this case. I don't want to belabor the point.
Now that I believe, when I was looking into this, most children would deny being abused, but the police psychologist, the police child psychologist, the one brought in to deal with these children, they just asked and asked and asked and asked and beat down these kids to where they didn't feel that they had any other choice but to agree with, the adults. Because children, for the most part, are programmed to please adults. That's what children naturally want to do. They want to please adults. So after so long of denying and denying and denying and denying and denying, sooner or later, they are going to wear down, and it's going to be sooner rather than later, because even hardened criminals will wear down with this shit. And eventually, that's when the allegations came out. Do not let these shitty people tell you otherwise. It's all there. It's all in the records. Look it up.
I have seen, however, the affidavits for the search warrant of your home, and they indicate the child is speaking to the authorities, not her father.
This was after she had been subjected to therapy.
Let's say you are innocent of that. You're no longer at the Presidio. You're now in St. Louis, but you're still a serving officer or colonel in the United States Army. Do you feel it is inconsistent with a high-ranking officer sworn to uphold the Constitution of the United States that you are also a practicing Satanist?
Not in the least. The Army has known of my religion for the last 20 years. There has never been a problem with it, any more than there's a problem with other members of minority religions.
But let me read from the Satanic Bible. Quote, this is the number one, commandment. Death to the weakling, wealth to the strong. How can you believe this and still uphold the Constitution of the United States? Death to the weakling?
Well, for one thing, what you're looking at there is a highly polemical book that was never meant to be taken literally in all of its commandments. Yes, and I'm aware of that, and I'm also saying that members of the Church of Satan understood that much of this book was in the form of a polemic. It was a statement that was dramatically made, but was not intended to be taken literally.
And wouldn't it be nice for everybody in the whole goddamn world if people realized that the fucking Bible is a polemic? Wouldn't it be a better world if people realized that the fucking Bible is not meant to be taken literally?
In all its respects.
So we should not take this book literally.
Correct.
This is Dr. Walter Grote, would you answer? Whose daughter was allegedly abused at West Point, the United States Military Academy. You were a captain in the United States Army. Aside from what allegedly happened to your daughter, which I know you allege was part of a satanic cult, and having nothing to do with this man, I state again for the record.
Yes, women were abused at military academies. It is a sad but true part of the United States history. But again, it has nothing to do with Satanism. It has to do with misogyny. What a fucking moron. Moving on.
What is your feeling, sir, on the fact that a serving officer in the United States Army is also a professed Satanist, a high-ranking person?
Well, I think in this election year, we've heard a lot about values, Geraldo. We've heard a lot that our little children should be saying the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. Mr. Aquino has identified himself as an Antichrist. He preaches that as the leader of the Temple said. I don't think I'm misquoting him. I find it inconceivable that we can have candidates talking about one nation under God and having our children say that, yet by the same token, we can have somebody in our army as a colonel leading our troops in battle who are opposed to the very concept of God and whose whole purpose it is to fight against God.
We have to take a break right here. Next, more on the connection between Satanism and violence, including more charges of the...
Yeah, but the whole point, hey, Limited, but the whole point is that we are not a fucking Christian nation. I know that's what the fucking Christian nationalists want people to believe. But we are not a fucking Christian nation. We are a nation that was founded on the principle of the freedom of religion. And if you don't like it, you can get the fuck out of here and move to a theocracy like Iran. Get the fuck out of here. We don't want you.
Sexual abuse of children. If you have let your kids watch up until now, we urge you, ladies and gentlemen, we are not kidding. Get them away from the TV during our next report. We'll be right back. Once again, parents, we urge you to heed our strongest warning about this next report on the abuse of children, the alleged abuse of children, because if the point of devil worship is evil, what could be more evil than this?
That's the baby right there.
Right here?
Uh-huh. It came out of her already.
What'd they do to the baby?
Then David took it.
I'm going to skip this part, okay? Because this part's absolutely gross. But I just want to say, watch the entire thing. It's called Exposing Satan's Underground. No child talks like this, okay? No child talks like this. These children were coached, okay? They were coached. And you can tell that. All right? So let me go ahead a few minutes here.
Said, how did they hurt you? She spread her legs and pointed to their crotch and said, right here.
And it gets worse. According to his family, this severely traumatized 10-year-old boy, also from Southern California, was allegedly molested by a trusted neighborhood minister as part of an ongoing satanic cult.
Jimmy talks.
A trusted minister. A trusted minister. Now, what does that sound like to you? What does that sound like to you? Oh, I don't know. It reminds me of, I don't know, let's say the scandals in the churches. You know, the Jehovah's Witnesses, the Catholic Church, the Anglican Church, you know, those scandals. That's what it reminds me of. Because they did say he was a minister.
talks about having a gun held to his head, about being shown a skeleton, about having to touch the skeleton. He has drawn pictures of child being sacrificed. He's talked about animal sacrifice.
They say their parents forced them to witness bloody rituals, and even they say to participate in ritual murder.
Again, this is not true. These children, mind you, under 10 years of age, many of them under 5 years of age, were locked in a room until they told the police psychologist what the police psychologist wanted them to know. And also, please note what I said earlier. No child talks like that. They were coached. Moving on.
Now in the safe haven of a concerned foster family, the children are haunted by their personal nightmares.
My dad was involved in lockup, and he's like,
You know why they're haunted by their personal nightmares? You know why they're haunted by their personal nightmares? And they probably are even to this day. Because they believe this shit really happened to them. They believe this shit really happened to them. You see, the victims of the satanic panic, not all of them went to jail. Not all of them went to prison. Some victims of the satanic panic are the children whose lives were ruined by this fucking shit. And that's what we have to remember. You know, you think, well, it's the kid's fault. No, it's not. It's not the kid's fault. It's not the kid's fault. The kids are just as much victims as the accused are. Just as victimized. Just as victimized. And if we don't stop it, it's going to happen again. I can guarantee you that. If we don't stop it, it will happen again. Except there may not be many sane people to bring us back from the brink of utter insanity next time. That's one reason we have to vote, people. It's not just about us. It's not just about Dobbs. Although I can guarantee you they are not going to stop with Dobbs. It is about the children. These idiots are always saying, think of the children. Well, guess what? They don't fucking care about the children. They don't. They don't fucking care. at any rate, I think that's where I'm going to leave it for today. Like I said, Exposing Satan's Underworld, you can find it on YouTube. You can find the whole thing, actually, but they do have it broken down into parts if you want to do that too, just in case you can't stomach this all at once. So anyway, please hit the like button, press the subscribe button, leave a comment down below. It's good for the algorithm. If you are able to, please become a member. You can become a member for as low as 99 cents a month. And if you can donate a one-time donation to my PayPal, that would also be much appreciated. And until next time, folks, I will see you guys later. And happy Samhain, everyone.